I've and he's become a friend, and I've got to chat with Caleb here too very recently, and they have some amazing stories and on their journey, and they're willing to share with you today. So, be ready to soak it all in. It's some powerful, unique ways that they have built their, I'm going to say, empire, and they are going to share a lot of those tactics with you all to help you guys implement them into your business if you so choose. And as we get started, there's a couple of formalities that I do need to take care of that you all seen, because we are KW, and there's a certain things that I do have to go through, otherwise I will never get to do this again. So first and foremost, my name is Nimesh. I am a team leader at KW Houston Southwest. I'm also a MAPS coach and a KWU national faculty member. So that's it about me, because it's all about them now. And we have these two gentlemen here. We're going to introduce them in just a second. First and foremost, you guys are going to have a survey to take. We would love the feedback. It helps us improve to be better, bigger, and better next year. So at the end, there's going to be a slide with the QR code. If you guys could please graciously take that, and it'll help us with our feedback, okay? Secondly, the fun stuff, to get out of the way. Number one, any data that KW shares is an as-is basis, and KW makes no representation or warranty. Please, please, please consult your own legal, financial, or tax advisor with any data that you choose to move forward with, okay? And, of course, to make Jason happy, any calls and texts that you make, please do so in a TCPA-friendly and compliant way. As always, commissions are not set and are not standard, and they are always negotiable. And of course, the new one, the AI disclaimer. Any text or material generated by AI should be reviewed and verified for accuracy and reliability. All right? Cool. Got that out of the way. So let's start out with these two gentlemen. Please do introduce yourselves as we get going here. Go ahead, Caleb.
My name is Caleb Davis. I'm from St. Louis. I live actually right outside of St. Louis in Illinois, but when I say Illinois, most people think Chicago. It's 5 hours away. I've been in real estate for about 12 years. I started as an investor. I was a kid swinging a hammer working for my dad, and then I was like, Dad, I want to flip houses. And he's like, no, we're not going to do that. So I got into flipping houses, and then slowly took me into owning rentals and becoming a realtor, and I've now built out a real estate team and now property management.
Hi, I'm Gaurav Gambhir. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I did not start with a hammer. I wanted to be a computer science engineer, but then I ended up being in real estate, and through real estate got exposed to property management opportunities, and I've been doing it for about 11 years. We also have a team. I'm also involved in the market center in Philadelphia as well.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, let's dive in as people are coming in. All right, Gaurav, let's start with you. When you first added property management to your real estate business, what problems were you trying to solve? And what surprised you most once you got started?
The reason I got into property management business was as an agent. I'm from India. I still think in Hindi and speak in English. So I've always had an internal challenge with myself. How am I going to generate leads in the real estate business being an agent? Being an immigrant, I did not know how to go meet people that I knew 10 years ago. So I had to find a way, didn't have the money. So I thought, when everybody's marketing and doing open houses, and that was not my comfort, I said, I'm going to find an opportunity that I can go from the back door, people who own properties, and they'll need me, which will be my competitive advantage as compared to other people, because they were not focusing on property management, and nobody wanted to do it. When nobody wants to do it, people like us say, we will do it because we see an opportunity. So when I got into it, I got to basically get leads and listings. What surprised me was that it was a complete new world that I was not exposed to, besides just the sales and leasing commission portion of that as well, and which got excited, and we've been building it. I'll answer your question just in perspective. We do manage about 5,000 units in the last 11 years. Our first unit was about in 2014, and we have had a substantial growth over the last 11 years. We are also now in about 16 states with 14 joint venture partnerships across those states.
Love it. All right, Caleb?
Yeah, so it's kind of a two-part problem I was trying to solve. So one is I own real estate, and how many people in here own rental properties? How many people in here own rental properties that are managed by other people that they're happy with their property manager? Two people,
Two.
three. Okay, so I have the same problem that the other 40 of you that lowered your hands is my number one goal is financial freedom. It always is, or always has been and always will be. My goal in life is to be financially free. My asset was not being taken care of. I tried every property manager in town, went to all of them, every single one of them treated it like somebody else's property. And I kept feeling that they would pay me on the 18th, pay me on the 9th, pay me on the 25th. And I was like, how are they staying in business? Like, there's no value. They're giving zero value to me as an investor. So I kept firing them and going to the next, and I kept being unhappy with all of them. The other problem is every time I had to refer an investor client to a property manager, what happens to that investor client? You lose them, and they now become the client of the property managers. So I kept seeing that happen because a lot of property managers in our area require them to sign a commit to sell agreement and require them to sign a buyer's agreement. And so that client was completely gone every time. And then I was like, as I was thinking about this, oh my gosh, this is such a great funnel for my real estate business to then generate, because now other agents are going to refer to me, and what happens? We get the client.
That's awesome. I love it. Okay, staying with you, what does a profitable property management business look like in practice, and where do you find most people often underestimate the work or the cost?
Yeah, so there's a ton of back-end work that I think you can handle through software. We use Buildium, we're moving to AppFolio. So a lot of the money can be lost in labor, and we use a lot of VA support across all of our businesses. So that's one way that we're optimizing to protect profitability. I think last year, the question was, what does it look like? How much does a company make?
Sure.
So like to some people, this isn't much. We made 80 grand on 130 units last year. It was our first year in business. To me, like, I was very excited because anybody who started a business, you don't normally make money in your first year in business. So that was the profitability on having 130 units, was just a tad over 80 grand.
Love it. Awesome.
What was the question again?
Yeah, I can absolutely
So
repeat
nice, I
it.
was
So,
listening to it.
what does a profitable property management business look like in practice, and where do you find that people most often underestimate the work or the cost?
In property management, we think of property management. Am I just trying
Go for it.
I can see everybody's face. I think we think of property management in three buckets. You have the maintenance and repairs that most people don't want to do, but they have to do. And I'd rather not be part of it, but we have to, because that's our job. That's the most toughest part of the job, why nobody else wants to do it. Then there's management fees, which we like. It's every month on the first, there's a recurring income opportunity. I do like that. And then there's a sales and leasing portion of it. So that's the biggest ticket item that majority of the people wanted to get in. That's why I got into business as well. So how do you feel in the profitability of, how do you manage all those three things from an agent's perspective, that we don't want to lose those clients to other people? So while we're doing all those things, let's go back to what the client wants. Client wants the best communication ever. So how do we provide that? Just like as agents, I don't feel that we'll be missing with technology or AI, that agents' value will be gone. I think the same thing in property management. Doesn't matter how much technology we use, it's a relationship-based business. They're, just like he said, we're managing the biggest asset of their lives. You want someone that you can talk to and feel emotionally connected to. So I think people miss out on, I don't have to do all the work on the back end that it needs, which is tedious, and we take shortcuts. I think that's going to reflect in the future how much time it takes to do all those things, and if you cut the corners, it'll start reflecting into our profitability and growth in the future.
I love that. I love it. Stay right there. Stay right there. I'm going to ask you one more. So one step further, what systems are non-negotiable to you for managing properties at scale without burnout?
So for scale, you need systems and processes. Technology is needed. What is non-negotiable for us was clients coming to our office and giving us checks, or giving us cash, or mailing us checks. So at one point, we took a decision that we want 100% of the rental of the management process. I take back. 100% of the rent needs to be coming on digital sources.
Okay.
So AppFolio, we use AppFolio as well. They do create other opportunities. You can go to 7-Eleven, you can go to Ace Hardware, you can go to Walmart and do a bill pay. So we at one point said, anybody who mails us a check will charge you $5 to process the check. That, we got huge pushback from everybody, and we stuck to it.
But what was the result?
We are 96% people that pay us online, and the only ones that don't pay are the ones that are getting hit by $5 and they need to learn, or the new clients that are coming on board that we have to get them on board. So I would say almost 98%. There's always going to be 1 or 2% people who will not listen to you no matter what you say. And they won't pay the $5 and they'll complain at the end, but that's okay. So I think that is one non-negotiable item for us, is that you have to use technology. And everybody in our company who's an employee, we have about 50 full-time employees now, you have to use the AppFolio software for every communication. You can't use your personal cell, you can't text from your personal cell, and you can send an email outside of the email that is synced to AppFolio. So the technology on the back end, and then you having even if a client calls us and saying, I have a work order, log into your portal. So
Okay.
technology as a, like, you know how we talk about CRM, how important it is, as a central database, AppFolio is that for us. Everything has to live in it.
Expand on that a little bit. Explain that part. Why stay within the system?
Otherwise, you can't scale. You can't. You know, if there's once you scale, you know, you may have transitionary people coming in. People move to different roles in the company. People may change and move out of the roles. How do you leave that legacy information going after the other one? Before it was all with me. Then when we had 100, 200 units. Then we had more units. Then it was 3 of us. We could walk over to somebody and say, do you know what happened to that property? Why is that owner calling us? Then you start increasing the scalability and saying, it's impossible. There's no way. And then there were gaps in between where the owners were calling us and saying, how come nobody knows? And how do I tell them that the email that the client used or my employee used who left, we have no idea. So we were putting, you know, we have learned so much over the last 11 years that if we realize that unless you use a centralized space, there's no way we can scale. And everybody has to be on it.
I love it. I love it. Caleb.
I don't even know if I can follow that up.
Yeah, sure you can, because yours is completely different. So absolutely. I think
All right, give me the question again.
Absolutely. So what systems are non-negotiable to you for managing properties at scale without burnout?
Yeah, so I mean, for the biggest, we're very small, so there's only 3 of us that are doing it. Making sure that like everybody gets their time off they get to. So like we have to know what's going on. So Brooke, who is our main property manager, is doing most of the work. So when Brooke's leaving, I'm picking up the load, helping out. I'm answering the burnout part, because I think that's the #1 issue in real estate. Period, is we burn out, we quit, we crash. So making sure that we take time off, we protect our time. And so we require all of our tenants to put a maintenance request in online, which goes directly to our contractor. If you call us, we do not take your maintenance request. We tell you, you have to go put this in online. It is not going to get done unless you do that. Some tenants don't like that, and they're like, I don't know how to do it. Well, you did it a month ago, figure it out. So it's always getting them to follow what our systems, what our processes are, so that way it continually happens smooth, and on the back end, our contractors get notified, our landlords all sign agreements. This is another process that we did that I really like. They sign an agreement that whether it's 500 or 1,000, we can fix anything without having to call them. Because the last thing we want to have to do is call 10 people a week and be like, hey, your sink's leaking, can I send a plumber? No, it's, hey, your sink was leaking, they got the email, we got it taken care of, cool. And what we've learned is most investor clients really like that. They don't want to have to answer a phone call over a $75, $100, $150 call. They just want it done. That's why they hired us.
I love it. I love it. And I'm glad you brought up your investor base, right? So we talked a lot about the back end so far. Let's bring it up to the front end. How do you attract and retain high quality investor clients?
Yeah, so how our way that we scaled and grew the business is very similar to how we all sell real estate. We called investors, and what my pitch was to all of them when I was starting this is, come, let me try one property. Just give me one door. It doesn't even have to be something you're switching. It can be the next door you buy. If you are not 100% happy with our services, I will give you all of your management fees back. I will completely refund you if you're not 100% happy. What that did is, it's a guarantee. They're like, oh, okay, if I'm not happy, I can get free management. We've never had anybody take us up on that. What we have had is them trying to figure out how to get out of the contracts of their other property managers to come bring more doors to us because they've been very happy. And so like in business, you can build a business based on 3 different things: cost, speed, or quality. You can have 2, but not all 3. We are the most expensive property management company in town. Like nobody else is charging as much as we are. We're 12.5%. There's people as cheap as 6. But once again, nobody can ever get a hold of them. So for us, like we've gotten past this barrier with our investor clients that they would rather pay us an extra $20, $50, $100 a month to know that their property's taken care of well.
I love the value. It's awesome. Carl.
Sorry, I like to stand and move around, but I think from the investor's perspective, think of each one of us who own investment properties. What do we want? We want the best client experience, and we want to make sure that our property is being taken care of, and we want transparency. So we use two words in our company a lot: transparency, communication. A client should be able to see anything and everything at all times. So we make sure that the person has an online portal created, they have visibility to that. Over a period of time, any questions that has come to us, every reporting, I need a rent roll, I need a P&L, I need my balance sheet, I need my work order report, I need a cash flow statement. Whatever we were seeing more than being asked multiple times, we kept adding to our owner packet every month. Our owner packet has now grown to about 25 to 30 pages. So giving them way more information creates transparency. They may or may not see it, but whenever they want to see it, they have it. So that they don't have to call back in the office for doing that. Then all the owners want is my property needs to be rented all the time. So we focus a lot in making sure that our vacancy is not as high, and we have processes in place to make sure that if the vacancy is over 30 days at any given time, we reach out to them and we have price adjustments right away, so that we can rent and move forward faster. Obviously, we make money on the management fees also when the place is rented, but the amount that we are making versus them is much different. We can get fired for not having these for about 90 days. So for the owner's perspective, we give them transparency, communication, keep the property, and then we have an in-house maintenance company which we started purely because the expense ratio was getting very high. So if you keep the cost low, give better service, high communication, transparency, and then lastly, you create new opportunities for them. Once an investor, always an investor. So once they understand the value of owning something, you don't have to educate them anymore. The job becomes way easier. So how do we now create other opportunities for them? Finding properties, knowing what the kind of properties they like. And a unique thing has happened. People will buy properties and then they grow, just like a home. They'll buy one property for X dollars in a neighborhood. Now they want a bigger one and a bigger one. We sell properties to owners within the organization. So we will just find Tom who wants to sell, and then Jim is going to say, or Mary is going to say, I'm looking for something. We'll sell to each other. So that investor relationship has grown a lot for us.
It's pretty awesome. Hang tight, okay? Because I know you like to stand, so keep standing. All right, so let's flip the role on the other side. Right? What role does tenant experience play in the success of a management company, and how do you systematize it?
So tenants have a magic, have a very strong wand in their hand that scares us. It's the reviews. So they have a voice, and then they go online and they make sure they give us a voice. If you go on our website, on our reviews, probably the best 3.8. Sounds like it's one of the worst companies on the planet. I should be doing business with them. So we struggle with it. So we have made a decision as a property management company, who's your client? So who would you say your client is? Landlord or tenant? Both. That's the mindset that we had to change. Because we always believed, that's my client. They're the ones who pay me. Without a tenant, landlord goes away. A bad and unhappy tenant makes my landlord go away. I can have a tenant very happy. I can fix a landlord side because all they want is transparency and communication. That's a process issue. For a service issue, mostly on the tenant side, because we're dealing with them on an everyday basis as compared to a landlord, which is on a monthly, quarterly, or annual basis. So I think that mindset change with the tenants really changed the trajectory. So now we have client service coordinators that tenants now have an access to. We also have a program where we monitor that no work order over 7 days, any work order over 7 days will be escalated. So we know that if a tenant has been waiting, that's the number one complaint they have, why are things not fixed? So we'll escalate it to a different department and a manager to say, you need to look into deeper what's going on, and then have a call. So sometimes the manager will call, or a client care coordinator will call the tenant. We are working on the part, we heard from the client, the communication has to be much more, which takes a lot of resources, unfortunately. So, but that keeps our clients happier. So I think our reviews and everything are getting better because we are learning from our mistakes and growing. At a larger scale, you get 25 bad reviews. your rating goes on by a point, which takes it down 300 reviews to get up again. So, it's a lesson that we all learn.
Love it, love it.
I'm standing up too.
I know, right?
I'm like the only person sitting up here.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Want it again?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, so from your perspective, what role does tenant experience play in the success of a management company, and how do you systemize?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important because a happy tenant stays longer. There's less vacancy. There's less problems. You know, a tenant moves out, you have to do work to the property. So for us, we actually fired over 10% of the landlords we brought on last year because they were not wanting to get things fixed quick enough or major repairs that needed done. So if, like, we're very quick to fire a landlord. I know some, or not, an investor landlord. If they do not want to fix things, they do not want to be a quality investor, we fire them very, very quick because what we know is that tenant's gonna turn over, it's a headache property, it's gonna take a lot more time on our end, and then if it's empty, we're not making money anyways. So we don't want those properties. Also, I mean, we're talking to every tenant when they're talking about moving out, about getting approved to buy a home. Have you looked at, so we own a mortgage company, so we've actually, I think, did 3 loans last year and 3 buy-sides, just off tenants that we had. So the tenants are very important. They are your clients too, because you make a whole lot more money when they go buy a house with you than you would if they moved into somebody else's house.
I love it, love it. I love how we're also segueing perfectly. It's like you and I are in sync. So here's the follow-up to that. How do you handle maintenance and vendor relationships so they support growth instead of becoming a bottleneck?
Yeah, so we're super, super lucky that my dad owns a construction company. Like, I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'll say the F word. I grew up in construction. I'm allowed to cuss, Gary, okay? My dad owns a construction company. They handle about 90% of our maintenance. So incredibly lucky. We're very big on group chats. Like, every organization in my company has some sort of group chat, typically on iMessage. One thing that we do to verify it is anytime his guys are at the job site, they have to send us pictures and videos of the finished work to make sure that it's quality and it's done. So that's super, super important for us in our process of the management or the maintenance to make sure it's getting done. And then anytime we have other management people that we're having, or not, any maintenance, sorry, not management, coming in to do something, if they're not getting it done fast, we turn quick and we'll just go right to somebody else and they're not getting our business, so.
Love it. Gaurav, you alluded to having your own now, segueing into your own maintenance company.
So my dad was not in the business, so we had to rely on other people that we may or may not have as much control. We do have trust, but we don't have the control. So over a period of time, we realized that the landlord, I'll give you a funny story. The reason why I got into business was I had on my best client that has borrowed $10 million worth of assets with me from primary home to another 10 or 15 properties. I sent him a painter, and he called me and said, "You owe me $1,600. And I said, "Why do I owe you $1,600? He said, "The painter you sent me did a horrible job." And I said, "Okay, but you negotiated with him. I just recommended it. I didn't make any money on it. So why am I responsible?" He said, "You're only as good as your recommendation. If I can't rely on you, who do I rely on? You're my guy. You're my real estate person. So if you send me somebody, you got to stand behind them." So that doesn't make sense. Like, I see your point, but now I have to eat $1,600. I didn't go to the property. You should have managed it better. So he said, "Listen, I've already paid somebody else $1,600. You make a decision. Either you pay me, or I'll stop doing business with you." So I said, I won't say his last name. I said, "Doctor." I said, "Doctor, you know people make money. If I made money from you, I would pay this. But I don't make any money. I do almost every part of my property management for free for you, in the hope that you're going to be buying business with me. And there are management companies that will charge you to do this. You don't have to do this." He said, "Then you do it." I said, "You pay me if I did property management?" He said, "Yes." "How much would you charge?" I said, "I don't know, 7%. He said, "Done." I said, "Would you give me 10 properties at 7%? In my mind, I'm doing the math, like, that's $20,000 a year. And he's like, "Done. Don't call me. You know the properties. Just take care of them." So that made me realize early on in my career that people want results, and the reason why they're hiring us is because they're valuing their time more than they're paying us. Otherwise, why outsource it? So now our job is to make sure that we provide the best value at that time. So now if the vendor comes and does the work and doesn't do a good job, guess what? Doctor is going to hold me responsible. So over a period of time, what we did when we grew our portfolio a little bit more, we said, I can't rely on the vendors as much, so we're going to take that in-house. So slowly, we built our own GC company, we made our own GC, and then we started subcontracting the vendors. That way, if something goes wrong, I'm on the hook anyways. I might as well send another subcontractor than telling the doctor that John's plumbing company, John and our business was not responding to my phone calls. So that's how our work orders are being managed by 90% of it through our company. We have subcontractors, we have GC. It has become a very profitable organization because we don't just stop at our management, we also do third party now. So that became another business that grew out of this business as well. So if you're only relying, this is what we did. Every time we knew that we wrote $1 million in payments to a vendor, that's the business I want to get into. Because we know there's profit there. And there's scale there. With the scale, we can do those things. So if you don't have a repair maintenance company or a process of making control over the process, it's something to look into.
You know, so all of a sudden, you know, on behalf of Gary, I really want to dive into, so when you started this whole thing, like, was this in a fully compliant manner? No, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. No, don't answer it. We're gonna get in trouble.
We were.
No.
We were.
Yeah.
We were. So, because we were. Actually. Interestingly, we were.
All right. So let's change a little bit to tracking and metrics. Okay. So what metrics do you track weekly or monthly to ensure the management side of your business stays healthy and profitable? Either one of you.
Yeah, so the main three, so we have a meeting every Thursday, and we call it, like, it's our builders, that's our culture thing, so we build together. So the leaders of every division of our company get together on Thursdays, and we track our metrics, and we have a level 10 meeting. What we track is total rentals added, and vacancy. And that's only 3 metrics we look at, because that tells us, A, how many are we managing, how many are vacant, and how many new landlords did we bring on, how many new doors. So it's just very, very simple. I think if you're trying to track, and he may Wade Trump me here, but to me, like, I get completely lost when I'm looking at a business and I'm trying to track 7, 8, 9, 10 things. It's gonna bore me. I'm not gonna be able to figure out the problem as fast as I want to, so just 3 things.
Sorry, I keep shining. I apologize again. Does everybody own market centers here? The multi-year trend report? That's exactly what we use. So we took the Keller Williams multi-year trend report, and as a sales agent also, you have a multi-year trend report.
I hope everybody's looking at that.
You can go to the report section of Command and print your multi-year trend report. It'll tell you whatever data you fed into it, and some of the metrics that they use are about 20 of them. And then on the market center perspective, they always say, as a team leader, how many appointments did you make? How many appointments did you set? How many clients you close? What is the gross number? What is the net number? So it's about how much company dollar was generated. What was the production per agent? How many leasing commission? We have all those things that were in there. So Joe Puggi is our director of sales. He's been with us for 9 years. He has probably brought 40% of the business in the company through his team and through his growth. So I asked him to write this down. I don't do this every day, so I want to make sure I give all the stuff. But the multi-year trend report is exactly what we copied. We do manage new leads and agreements signed. We want to make sure that we are growing with the contracts. New net doors added, so it's a gross and net conversation. We also check how many doors that we added, what was the management fees, and the doors that left, how much was the management fees. So we might be adding in number, but growing in dollars, that's a losing business. We also see the management fee revenue. We need to make sure how much management fees every year over year we're growing. How many owners are leaving? So not only unit count, we need to know the owner count. One owner may have 50 properties, and the other owner may have 2. I'd rather lose one owner with 50 properties than 50 owners with 1 property each. So we value the number of owners, not the number of units. And how many open maintenance issues do we have that are over 7 days? That is very important for us. And the vacancy rate and the average days that properties are vacant, and how many available units do we have that needs to have addressing right away. So there are a few of the ones that we use. But multi-year trend report, you can add anything. I'll tell one thing also, that if you're not monitoring the data, we started this much later, and I think there's a huge value lost in the last 10 years. In the first 5-6 years that we were not managing the data is huge. So start managing and looking at the numbers closely. Don't worry about them. Don't stress yourself. Just keep it on the side. When you need it one day, you hopefully this conversation will come to mind.
Yeah, I love it. And what I've heard over the times, right? The numbers are the numbers. They're neither good nor bad. They're a direct reflection of your activity, right? And they tell a story. So dive deep into the numbers. I love that. Okay. Now, both of you have alluded to this a little bit. Let's take a second to just to dive a little deeper. How have you set up your management business to feed your sales business and vice versa?
Yeah, so I run a team with a very heavy buyer agent team. So one of the ways that we feed it is all of our agents get paid on referral for sending people to us. And we'll actually take a hit to pay them a larger referral sometimes if we're not gonna make as much, because we just want to get as many new landlords, like he was mentioning, because every landlord you get, if they have one or two doors, the odds are they're probably going to buy more. So we want all the new connections we can. So paying agents has been a really, really great way for our agents, A, to make a little more money when they're selling houses, and for the property management company to grow. And then the investors also love to sell houses. So as we've been working with this, our property manager gets paid a nice referral from our agents. So it's really a nice back and forth that we do with our agents and our property manager. We're really, really big about all of our organizations coming together, and we're all working towards the same common goal. So it's created a really great cohesiveness amongst our group and our environment to help each other out, because we all win together.
We have our sales department and leasing department completely separate from KW. Just for liability purposes, we want to keep it separate. Our leasing team, there were 7 of them. Give me a question once again, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries. So how have you set up your management business to feed your sales business and vice versa?
Okay, so this leads come in from multiple resources. We have our own database, we market a lot, we have repeat clients. Our number one source is owners referring their friends or growing their own portfolio. The second biggest one is our other agents referring it as a business. Most agents don't refer business to property managers or property management companies because of the trust factor. My client will be sold, or their properties will be sold, so that I'm going to lose my relationship. So we solve that. Any agent who provides us a referral, we sign a non-compete, non-solicitation, so that, and it's 100%. A referral fee of 100% if you made an error. So even if you took the money, as a licensed brokerage company, you can take me to the real estate commission. I have a referral agreement on this client for 10 years for 100%. That talks a lot as compared to saying, trust me. Whatever you say, you trust me, you put it on paper. And we do that. So that becomes, now we have other brokers and other brokerage companies, some of our biggest competition now refers us business. Because they know it will never be lost. Only once in our history we have made a mistake and we paid $11,000 back on our commission to them. That spread like wildfire in Philadelphia. Gaurav is a man of integrity. TCS Management is an honorable company. Don't worry about that. That was key. So we do give 1 month referral, and we have created something new, and I'd like to share with you. How do you grow a portfolio? You know, if I wanted you to give me as an agent more and more properties, I want to first educate you saying property management is a good business. You should get into it. If you don't want to get into it, I'll help you with holding on to your clients. I'll sign a non-compete. I'll give you a 1 month referral every time of management fees, every time you refer us a client. And if you build this portfolio up to 15 units, if you refer me 15 units, we'll give you 10% of the revenue generated on the property management fees as a passive income. So now we're teaching them wealth building, passive income being generated. All that goes to the brokerage for the brokerage to give them a check, because you can only pay a broker. But we have created this now lead source where now brokers and agents want to start supporting us. They keep the sales and the leasing, and now they basically are in the property management business with a gross revenue share. So that has actually helped us a lot, bring a lot more clients.
It's powerful. Hang tight. Okay, so because I want to take it one step further. All right, this is the fascinating part. Both of you have your unique stories, and this is where I'd like you to share them. Right? For you, it's moving forward, and it seems like you're reimagining the property management like an expansion hub model. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you've been working on?
Absolutely. There's always a market share that you grow in an area. If you capture 1,000, 2,000 units, and you grow big enough, getting to double that business becomes challenging. Growing from 10 to 20 or 100 to 200 is relatively easier than growing from 2,000 to 4,000 in the same market. So then you go into a new market, and then you try to capture some market share there. Well, how do you do that? Most of us have grown our property management business is because we are heavily involved in it. We have our relationships, we knew somebody, we had our experiences, and they come to us because of us. It's a complete new business when you go to a state or a city where nobody knows you. So how do you grow that business? You need to find a partner. So, as Gary always talks about, there's a lead, leverage, and listings. So let's talk about leads and leverage. Leads brings the business, leverage supports the business. So we took that thinking from an agent's hat or Keller Williams coaching, you think of an expansion hub model. What can you do from a hub that you cannot do at an expansion in a different state? There's only a few things. So we took 2 years and wrote down every part of a process. Taking phone calls, collecting checks, sending someone, door is locked, keys are missing, whatever it might be. We kept writing and saying, what can we do here, what has to be local, what has to be done local. We came down, ultimately there was a process you could have created or we have created that 97% of the tasks can be done at a hub level. There's only very few things that can be done and needs to be done at expansion level. So then we started going to our local partners saying, can you be a lead partner? Let us become your leverage partner. That's how teams are run. An agent joins the team, has their own lead generation, but the back-end hub provides all the support. So that's how our property management is now growing. We go to a new market, find someone that has the leads, but not the leverage. Has the desire to start a management company, but doesn't want to do the work of the property management company. Or has an existing property management company, but is not happy running it because that's not their one thing. Whatever the case might be, we become the back-end solution. They're the face, and we can create an opportunity for them. So we go to all the JVs, we have been creating JVs, and the reason to create JVs is because if as a referral source, you lose the control. We want to be business owners, not an employee or referral source. So a JV lets them create that referral source as an asset that you're building that can be sold in the future. So in the last 4 years, we have almost every partnership we have is through a Keller Williams friend that I have made in Keller Williams. So I'm thankful for this platform that I have. But these are people that I've known for 7, 8, 10 years. And I see a couple of faces in this room that have become our partners. And that is what we're looking to grow further and further. Let them be the lead, we become the leverage, and then everybody wins. And the structure has, it's more like a 50-50 structure that has made sense for all sides. So I'm happy to talk about that further if somebody wants to explore understanding how that works as well.
It's powerful. It's awesome. All right, Caleb, for you, it's a little bit different, but equally as powerful story that I want you to share now. You've alluded to it a little bit. You dropped some nuggets, and I want you to come full circle. Let's talk about your journey and how it ended up at property management.
Ooh, all the way back?
Yeah, start with
All right. Yeah, so I was a blue-collar kid growing up, swinging a hammer. Dad was a construction worker, and I hated it. If anybody's ever demoed plaster, like, it's really miserable. That is not it. So, blue-collar kid, wanted to figure out a different way. I knew how to use my hands, so I got into flipping. Started flipping houses, and I was like, oh, these guys own rentals. Like, they're making more money than me, so I started buying my own rentals, which then led to me becoming a realtor. And that was, at that point in time, becoming a realtor was literally an ancillary company. So my team leader at the point in time, her name was Erica Lawrence. When she hired me at KW, she quotes me on this all the time. Every time I see her now, she lives in Texas, so I don't see her that often. She's like, Hill, I'll never forget when you said I'll never see you again. Because that was I walked into KW, I said, don't worry, you'll never see me again. You don't need to sign me up for any training. Like, I'm just gonna buy and sell my own houses. And then slowly but surely, I was like, kind of like being an agent. Like, this agent thing's cool. And I saw the ability to expand a business around being an agent. It was a lot easier for my personality type to expand an agent business than it was to expand a flipping company. I hit a lot of brick walls and could not figure out how to grow past 20 flips a year. That was my cap. So then after that, what I started to realize is clients love simplicity. Clients love a full service company, so we started to go to what we call is a comprehensive full service real estate company. So I opened a mortgage company, I opened a title JV, and all of these are very similar to what he was talking about, I did with JVs. I'm not a lawyer, I don't know anything about title. I want a title company that pays me a whole heck of a lot of money though, because the agent is the center of the real estate transaction. You guys are the reason that lenders get paid. You're the reason that insurance agents get paid. You're also the reason that property managers are getting paid if you're still referring business. So I just kept opening all the business similar to like how he is. I realized how much the lender was making, how much title was making, how much insurance. So I went and got into that. And the last piece of what we did was property management. And then along with opening property management, we started a monthly free training for real estate investors. And that is another one of our lead funnels that I didn't talk about, is every month we teach a training about investing into real estate. Completely free, agents are welcome, their clients are welcome, anybody. And it's been a really, really good way that started to help us also grow our property management company, is just going out and giving out free knowledge. It also is growing our real estate company, our title company, everything grows through that. And that's like top funnel, like loss leader. I don't know if you guys know this, but Walmart loses money on diapers. But you guys go to Walmart and you buy 15 other things when you buy diapers. So everything is you like,
God, no wonder diapers are in the back.
anything that is in the back of the store when you're going, they lose money on it. The things in the front, the candy bars, the sodas, that's where they're making money on you guys, because you're sitting there and those are impulse buys. Could go on for this forever. So the whole goal of what we were doing, I'm on a ramble now, I love to do rambles, was a comprehensive full service real estate company, because I truly believe the clients do not want to get shuffled around and passed around. They want one person to be able to help guide them through the entire process. And that was our entire goal with what we've been building with all of the different ancillaries.
Awesome. So you saw a gap in that property management could solve, and you started property management. It's been about a year or just over a year.
Yeah, just over a year, a little bit.
So what's the goal for next year?
To get to 250 doors. So our goal by the end of this year is 250 and then 500 the following year.
Like your business every year.
I was talking with him at the beginning. He's like, I'm at 5,000. I was like, I don't even know if I ever want to try to get to 5,000. But I can see now, like talking to him and hearing him, it's completely possible. And that's why coming to these events is so amazing, because it opens up our horizon of what is possible. I was mentioning to you, 7 years ago, I came here for the first time, and I was like, I want to be on the panel. And that happened today, and I'm pumped.
Fascinating, isn't it? Like, that's the point I wanted to tell you. That David just a piece. That's fascinating. I love it. Right?
Can I add one thing? How many people own an insurance company here? That's something each one of you need to look into. If you have not explored it, think about, okay, I'll give you a trick in the book. We are fighting for 1 or 2% of management fees. Okay, we like 12%, we don't charge 12%, but like 12% or 10, or whatever you're charging, an extra 2%. On a $2,000 rental, what's 2%? 40 bucks. What's an annual cost? $500. What is the value proposition to the owner to ask them for an extra $500? One of the value proposition can be, how much is your property insurance? My property insurance is $4,000 a year. If I could save you $500 or $800, could I then earn the right of telling you my value proposition, because that's what I do at this percentage of my commissions that have been negotiated? There's value. You have to find the value for the owner to be able to find in their current asset to increase their ROI. That's what they're hiring us for. How do I increase value and make my property more profitable? Then guess what they're going to do? Tell 3 of their friends, hey, do you have a property manager? Did they do that? Dude, you got to go to mine. That's how it helps grow as well. So we got into property management about 4 years ago. I learned a lot through the process. I'm learning a lot even now, going forward. But one thing is for sure, that everybody needs to go in. And I'm going to share my contacts, and I'm happy to, I'm planning to do a class for somebody, a Zoom class. We can all get and share ideas with each other of what we can help to for each other as well. But insurance is something each one of you should look into.
Love it. Thanks, Coach. All right, so I'm going to give you one final question to ask her before we open it up, and at the same time, I'm going to put your little bullet point slide up here if you want to refer to it in this last one, okay? But to close out the questions part, if an agent wants to build a millionaire property management business, what is the single most important system or mindset they must adopt early? Yeah, go.
So for me, the easiest way that I answer any question like this in life is like, does it match my vision? So we hear vision a lot, right? Like KW loves to talk about vision. I like to take vision even a step further. My vision is written in a Google Doc. It's about 6 pages long. And it defines what my life looks like in the future. And that is what my ideal life is going to look like. Anytime I'm thinking, because this is not for everyone that's in here. I'm just being honest with you guys. Some of you guys are in here should not open a property management company, period. But what you need to figure out is what is the vision for my life? And I get all the way detailed to like, how do I speak to my child? How do I speak to my wife? And if something like opening a property management company does not help me get to what the vision for my life is faster, I don't do it. So it's a lot easier when you know your vision, you know what you want your life to be, to say no or yes to things like this.
Obviously, that's true, and I agree with that. I'm going to give you, I was going to say something on the similar lines, but I'm going to add something on the transactional side, just so that we can go a different perspective. I like to grow a business as big as possible. And the only reason why we would not grow a large business is because we are scared of the large business. The reason to say no to new business or growing business is I can't handle it. It's going to take away what my vision or my goals are. I think the difference is we haven't figured out, as compared to saying no to a growth opportunity, let's work on figuring out a solution so that I don't have to do the same problem that I'm worried about. If you get 100 units tomorrow, let's figure it out by hiring another person. If you get 2 units tomorrow, let's figure out how we can use technology so that I don't have to add more of my time doing those things. If it's taking too long to do accounting, let's find a solution. If it takes too long to respond to work orders, let's find a solution. Can it be digital, can it be technology, AI, or a virtual assistant? Find a solution, but don't stop growth. So some of the things that I wrote down so that I can have some cheating points to discuss. Think about a holistic investor journey. So how do you grow the business? So a holistic investor journey approach. I think we both talked about a lot today about how that person can get in. This is the first time in my last 20 years of being in real estate that there are more accidental owners that are doing property management or need property management. For all the slides that get talked about in the vision speech, is because they have equity in it, they bought at a price, prices have gone up, interest rates are low, rents are high, gap is too big, why am I going to sell? There are more people like that than ever before. So understand the journey, turning first-time home buyers into lifetime clients. So if you think of the tenants as your client as well, you can get them on the journey. Somebody who's renting today will end up buying and then buy an investment property, and as the same landlord that we didn't treat them well before. Expanding ancillary revenue streams anywhere possible. First of all, it's amazing that at 150 units you have all those avenues. We learned much later about finding out those opportunities, or my education came much later about ancillary services. Standing out in a crowded market, how do you differentiate yourself? I think the insurance is one of the examples that I gave, that you have to prove your value in the sales pitch. Moving from transactional to relationship-based business, once they understand that you're worrying about their ROI, that whole game changes. Becoming a one-step real estate solution. So we call ourselves a one-stop shop. We do everything for them in between as well. So now you ask yourself, are you thinking of starting a property management company? Seems like most of us here already have a property management company. If you are not, my thought was, you should. You should add value to a client, become a one-stop solution. If you already started a management company but struggling to scale, identify them and those things. I have my friend here, Blake, who raised his hand, and interestingly, he had a 300-unit property management company in Winston-Salem. We got to know each other for 7-8 years, and he came and we discussed. I was like, I'm having challenges. Let's find a solution, and we both worked out something that made sense as a JV. So thanks for raising your hand, Blake.
You saved my bacon. I'm here to say it worked.
Okay, thank you. How do I stop losing repeat sales and rental opportunities? There's so much business in our property management business. The landlord trusts us, the tenant trusts us. How do we create opportunities for everybody combined? So grow as big as possible. You are one of the few that are in the property management business because others don't want to be. That means the opportunities are humongous for all of us. But then add insurance and then title and mortgage, leasing and repairs and maintenance, and there's no reason not to have a painting company, not to have a cleaning company, or even having a vendor program. When you're in the market center, don't you see the vendors coming to the market center? They're supporting the business in some ways. Why can't you have the same vendor program for yourself to support the business for yourself as well, to help you grow as well?
I love it. That's awesome. Hey, aren't these two brilliant? Give them a hand. All right, so how we're gonna move forward now, as we go into this final stretch, we will be up here to answer any questions, or if you wanna just meet them or meet us or anything like that, feel free to as soon as we wrap up. But what we'll do here for the next few minutes is have a Q&A. If there's anybody that has any questions that they would like to ask, okay? I've got a hand, let me make sure this is on. Okay, lady back there, raise your hand first. We get you the mic.
Hi, I recently started my own property management company. I was curious to see what type of insurance that you guys have and would you recommend that I get?
So I don't know the exact, I went to my insurance agent and I told her what we were doing and she signed me up. So I already had like a blanket policy for my businesses and myself, and like a general liability policy. I'm not sure, honestly, that what else we might have. What I would do is contact your insurance agent because they're gonna be the best person to tell you what you need to get. And you may be able to.
The two minimum that I can think of is you have to have the errors and omissions. You have to have general liability. You should have a directors and officers insurance. Anybody else here who's thinking of something? Yes, Chris? Cyber policy. EPLI is another one that just came to mind.
You better have workman's comp.
Workers, if you have employees, workman's comp.
Make sure your general liability not only covers the building you're operating out of, or the car you're operating out of, but every property you're insured for.
Also
Do
have
you
the,
like give them every address or?
You gotta give them a door count, you gotta fill out a whole bunch of things, but
Well, do you have any insurance companies you would recommend?
yeah, all of us have it.
Yeah, well, you wanna,
I'll connect with you. I'll give you my card and I'll connect you with one of the insurance persons and then
Okay.
take other cards as well and shop around.
Okay, cool. And then one more question is, what are some ways that you scale like advertising to get more business?
I think you have to identify your lead source. What kind of properties you want, who is servicing those properties. And being an agent, I love my fellow agents for referrals. And we have, as I was discussing before, we have created an avenue for them to be motivated to use us instead of giving it to third parties, so because we protect their interest as well. I think you should be more vocal about your property management business, write your value proposition on paper and market it. Don't be a secret agent or a secret property management company that you only work in. You have to let the world know, because when there's a pain, they're going to think of you as a solution. Otherwise, people will be hard to find you because the competition is so high. So be around people who like you and admire you, would recommend and refer business to you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, Ben. All right, hold on. And as I'm walking around with the mic, don't forget, I do have the QR code up, and we'd love to get some feedback from the session, guys, okay?
Can you go back to the last slide with the information?
Yes, I'll go back to it in just a minute. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Murray. We spoke before. As you're scaling, how do you handle like the owners? Because right now the owners contact me, and it's kind of hard to grow and scale when all of your owners are contacting me. So do you guys have like a process and system? Like, do they contact your VA or what's your process?
I'm sure we both have answers for that. So I'll answer it in a more of a coaching way. You think owners need you. They don't need you. They need the information. What your systems may say, you're the only way they know how to get to the solution. Whatever you pick, VA, EA, automated responses, chat, bot, AI, whatever you want. Coaching before them, and here's the FAQs. They don't need you for that. Start finding out what is they're looking for and create a system around it. But anything will work. But you are not needed. They just want that information. So that's why I said in the monthly report, the owner statement, we give them 50 pages. Because some owner will need page 3, some will need page 6, some will need, whenever somebody calls me, say, I already sent it to you. Get your own packet. Once they learn it, it's an education thing.
Anything or you good?
No, I mean, to us, we're so small right now that it's just Brooke. Like if an owner goes to Brooke for all of their questions.
So get a Brooke.
Yeah, you need a Brooke.
Yeah.
Right now, you're the
Yeah.
Yeah, right now you're Brooke. Let's not be Brooke.
I'm Kathy from Birmingham, Alabama, and I am at 20 doors right now, and scalability is a thing for me. I'm specifically looking at your Appfolio. Why did you choose that, and what problems did it solve for you?
Simplicity. So Buildium was extremely complicated to do our payouts, and it was really lagging and making payouts take significantly longer than they should have. So we moved to AppFolio based on referrals from other property managers that we knew, and the simplicity of how much easier it is to do payouts.
All right, okay, come right there.
Everyone I met was like, "Can you use AppFolio?" I was like, "Okay, that's where I need to be."
Hi, I'm James from Minneapolis, and this is probably specifically for you, Gaurav, but at different points of scale, what is your org chart for your property management company look like? And have there been like pivotable scale points where the org chart is needed to change?
That is such a great question. Our company crashed around 1,500 units. We literally could not figure out how to grow. And the way that we were running our business at that time was, so we had when we started, we had one property manager. That person had, and when I told you, I had in my mind, I can make 20,000 management fees from that person, from the doctor that I got. I hired a part-time person right away for 24,000. So I didn't want to be the property manager from day one. So I said, I'm going to bring somebody in leverage from day one. I don't want to be the broker name we use. So then that person, we got to 50 units, 70 units. So I had a salesperson on day one. Once we got to 100 units, 150 units, it got tight. Then we got a second person. Then we got to 250 units. Now I have 2 salespeople, 2 property managers, and it got tight. But remember, at 150 units, if I wasn't in the business and I had a full-time employee, I didn't make any money. Now we got another, but if you hire another person, now that same 150 units are feeding 2 people. But then you grow to 300 units, you still haven't made money. Now 2 people can't afford it, now you got a third one. We did not make money almost up to 1,000 units. We made some money, but not substantially what I wanted to make as a business. So down to 1,000 units, we didn't make money. At 1,500, we hired 7 or 8 people, and the problem started happening, people started leaving. So somebody left, all the data is gone. Their information is gone, and we were struggling. At that point, we made a decision. We can't grow at a per owner, per property manager, managing 200 units. We need to change. So then we changed our whole company. We took a step back. We literally just reset the whole company and said, we need to run it more on a corporate style. We need to create compartments and departments. So, the property manager who's showing the leasing is not the best accountant. The person who's the accountant, or a good C in the disc analysis, is not a great salesperson. But we are now saying, you gotta be everything. You gotta be everything in one person, but you can't grow that way. So now we have an accounting department, a work order maintenance department, a client service department, an onboarding, a sales. Like we just kept adding one by one, and then we started adding a lot more virtual assistants underneath them to be able to grow and scale. And then each department has a department head. Then they have a manager, and the manager reports to the president. And then my day-to-day job is almost done besides growth and sales. So we had interesting, I was thinking about it, our business just changed. What he's doing is what we started. But at one point, it didn't work for us. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks. All right, before we get to the next question, FYI, my apologies. I guess the previous QR code was Getting a Maps Coach. I promise you that wasn't a shameless plug. It was an accident. Here's the eval QR code, okay, on the screen as you guys are listening to the answers. Go ahead.
So I am in the process of just starting a property management company and just like getting the ideas together. So I wanted to know, I know you've mentioned AppFolio, but does that make sense for a startup to, invest in that type of tool? And then what other startup costs would you have?
I wish we started with AppFolio because it's so painful right now switching, and it's definitely like we are not going to be able to grow. Like we are gonna probably have a 2-month pause. I think we're about 2-3 weeks into our onboarding. We'll probably be done roughly by the end of March, since it's significantly going to slow us down. Not just have started with AppFolio. I really, really wish I sat here a year and a half ago or 2 years ago and heard somebody say like, get into do AppFolio now. Because to me, spend the extra money now instead of trying to switch 130 doors. Because what we have to do is retrain every tenant, retrain every owner to now go into our new systems, and that's not easy.
Anybody else has used any software that they would like to give a plug or say, what are you guys using? Yes.
I'm using Buildium right now, but doesn't AppFolio have a minimum?
Yes, AppFolio has minimum. Any new high-tech, new companies that are out there that are using, you love it?
I'm interested in Rented. I was at a
Rented?
conference and I've never, so I'm gonna do a session with them to
Okay.
see, but we use Buildium right now, but we're having the same accounting issues.
Yeah.
We have to hire a bookkeeper
Say again?
and an accountant.
Don't use Rent Manager, is it?
So,
Rent manager.
Rent Manager has like the Express that they're trying to turn into more of an Applebee's thing,
Okay.
but there's the old system, so.
Okay. So my thought when we started, and we got lucky, that AppFolio wasn't public when we got them. I researched a lot of companies, and this seemed fair because they said that coming from a computer science background, they were showing a lot of money being going into the R&D world. So my thought was, if a company is going to spend millions of dollars doing the software, and they're being transparent about it, it's a good company to bank on compared to what other things were out there at that time. So we got lucky with AppFolio. We never had to change it. I'd like to change it at some point because the cost is ridiculous now, but what are you gonna do? So a couple of answers you got.
What other startup costs would you consider?
There is actually, so we have analyzed, I'll give you an answer from the JD perspective. It does cost a minimum of $10,000 to $15,000 to start a company. You gotta create a brokerage company, get it licensed, get all the insurance stuff, get marketing, be a professional company with all the swag and marketing materials and emails and websites. You gotta do all those things, and it costs something like $10,000 to $15,000 to do it. That I would say keep a $10,000 budget. If you want to do it everything at the same time, or you grow into it, but at least $5,000 for licensing, compliance, and little C documents and stuff.
Thanks, Chloe.
I wanted to say I'm part of Garage team, but I use AppFolio basically for my property, and it's really just easy. So even for the employees that you hire underneath you, like I used Yardi Voyager for about 3 years, and it's just like outdated with certain things, so it makes it seamless for like I have 220 units, so whenever I need to send stuff out to tenants, like I have a little like an AI platform where it'll like generate something for me, and then I can send it over easily. As far as following up with your tenants with their payments and everything, like you can do everything just on that same interface instead of like having to switch it.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
So I primarily deal with short-term rentals. I have 12 that I manage, about 120 bookings, every single month. So I'm just very busy with that. My question is, I feel like I'm losing a lot of returning guests by not capturing their emails. I'm solely on Airbnb. I do have plans to venture out into other platforms. Right now I'm only on Airbnb, and I use Hospitable. That's my property management software. But my question is, do you have like a recommendation? I was once told if you get a certain Wi-Fi, or they have to log in with an email address. I'm just wondering if you have any out-of-the-box ways to capture emails to get them on a spreadsheet, so I don't have to manually ask and input all of those people into a spreadsheet every month.
I'm not in the business of short term. I'll give you an answer, but I'm sure you probably others have answers as well. If I have to think on the spot, if I had to find a solution for that, they all need logbox codes. You could create, I'm just, again, once again, don't take it as an answer to your problem, but I'm just throwing an idea. If you create a fear in the client's mind that if I did not give my email address, I'm not gonna get something. It could be hey, if the code didn't work, and I had to have my system send it to you, we only have an email address opportunity for something. That's one. Hey, if something broke down, our maintenance department is the first place they'll send you a confirmation by email. I need it for that. You have to explain why you need it, show the value, maybe create a fear someplace. If I didn't have it, then don't blame me. And we use this in the leasing world. We create some sort of a fear saying, hey, if I had a change of something, our system only sends an email. We also we use it for cell phone numbers. If you're going to send your last minute cancellation for any reason, we need your cell phone number for a text message. Our system only texts. That way, when they use an online number or a Google Voice number, I need your cell phone number. I'm not going to send my agent to show a property without knowing who you are. So I need that. So you have to create some sort of a reasoning why you're demanding it, and then they will give it. They're happy to give it. They just need to know why, or a fear tactic a little bit.
Right here, guys.
Hi, my name is Jackie from Dayton, Ohio. You had mentioned earlier that you had started your own maintenance company within your property management company. Is there a profit to you on that? Do you charge per work order? And if so, how do your owners respond to that?
Great question. When we started it, we were very fearful. We thought we were stealing. And then we started justifying to ourselves, what does the client want? The client wants the best price and the best service, and if something goes wrong, catch one neck, right? So we went to them and said, full disclosure, in our management agreement, we have our own maintenance and repair company, which is a licensed company, and the reason we do that is because there are times when we cannot get a hold of the contractor back again. Or if the contractor did a bad job, we will have to go back under their GC license. So guess what? We want to give you the best experience. We don't charge more than what our market competitive rate is, but we are a GC company. At the end of the day, you'll get the job done for cheaper. And we have people on our thing. So if I had a toilet a flapper that needs to be replaced, my team may be in the area, and I can control that. So we only charge you $45 for half an hour. But if I have to send somebody, we charge $85 an hour. But at least I know the job will be done. So we have a full disclosure, and over a period of time, people always rebuttal, but over a period of time, they just want the job to be done for the price that is market competitive, and we lose money sometimes on the job, but overall it's a very profitable business for us.
Are the technicians paid by 1099 or are they on board with your company?
So we have full-time, and we have a few full-time employees now. We actually even, okay, there's another one. We even went actually got 2 vans. We really opened a full maintenance company. That didn't work well for us. So we got rid of those ones. We have 2 full-time employees. We have, there's some materials that we use, but then we use a lot of subcontractors. But because they get a lot of their business, we have some contractors that, or 70% of the business comes purely from us. We can tell them what rates we want to, because then the business grows with us. And we can control it. If they made a mistake, we force them to go back. So we have the control now, because we are, and at the end of the day, it's our license. So we are able to create that, but it is a profitable business.
Right here, I think you have that, right?
I'm gonna let Kayla, I want to take the contract from him, so you answer it.
I mean, we don't know the maintenance
Okay,
company.
go ahead. Yes.
Thanks for all the information. I'm Randy Huntley from the Northern Virginia, right outside of Washington, D.C. area. And are either one of you NARPM members, National Association Residential Property Management? Okay.
I just looked at Joe as an RV, because he said yes.
Okay.
We're not.
Okay, yeah, so we are.
Oh, okay, that was awesome, I love it. There was some, I'm gonna come this way and then I'm gonna come around, okay guys?
While we're answering all these questions, can I also make a shameless plug? What I would love, is getting to know you more. I think KW is missing some sort of this community that we should all meet more often. I don't have a solution. I'm looking at Chris and Ramesh, that these 2 people are the ones who are MAPS coaches, and you can help us do something.
So just full transparency, and I hope I don't get in trouble for it, I know that there was conversations, and I think it was even public at one point, that there was gonna be KW property, I forgot what they were calling it, it was like KW, you might actually know more.
It was,
Yeah.
it wasn't an idea at the time,
Yeah.
but then just like.
It even became public, so I saw the logo and everything, and then I think it
So
kind of.
there might be a Facebook page, but I think what we do in person like this, I think is extremely valuable. We come from different parts of the country. If we can meet, I think it should be a more organized way. Once, again, this panel is great, we should probably have more time than an hour or something. So my shameless will be, I would request 2 things, like we all do. I want to get my 3.8 star rating on TCS Management Hire. So if you felt that I added value to you today, please, let's do fair and justice to each other, and I'll do the same thing. If I can give you my card when you come over, take 2 minutes. You don't have to say that we help you property management, just saying TCS Management or Gaurav has a wealth of knowledge for property management, something like that. I think that will go a long way. That'll be a payback to me if I helped you as well.
Hi, I'm Lisa from Hawaii, and I have 2 questions. One is regarding your average monthly rental per door, if you could answer that. And then the other one is for Caleb. I had questions about your lead. I heard your lead sources about your referrals. I wrote that down. I'm just curious, because you're in your first year and you grew to 130. I'm curious where that came from. I'm sure some of it was part of your business. So those are my 2 questions.
Yeah, so our average is about 1,200. We're a lower price market. Our initial people that came in was just me calling every investor I know, offering them free services. We don't do great. And then agent referrals from our investor clients, and then the networking group that we host every month, education for investors, are probably the top 5 or top 4 sources of business for us.
Ours is 1350 average rental.
Hey, thank you. I'm Bill from Naples. I have about 220 doors plus about 45 Airbnb properties. I scaled up a lot, and I'm kind of looking for both of you to answer this if you could, because you're similar to me and you're where I want to go. Can you give me an idea how many man hours you use, not counting yourself, per door on average?
I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea. I genuinely don't. I'm sure Brooke could tell me if she was here, but she's back home working and running everything.
That's not a metric we follow, but I want to answer your question. So you're trying to find out how many man hours.
So I average about 3 to 5 man hours per month for all my doors. I use a ton of VAs. I have 4 full-time VAs. One handles accounting, one's leasing, one repairs and maintenance. So I kind of do the corporate thing, but I scaled that up about 3 years ago when I had 100 properties. And I can tell you it was a mistake from the standpoint of, I think there was some laziness in there. I was probably spending 8 hours a month then. And as I've grown, it's gotten better, but I'm looking to see if there was an average, if anybody knew about how many hours they're spending a month. Or, yeah, how many hours per month per door. So, and I've just seen that scale really slow, and I'm not liking where I'm at. I kind of feel like I could go another year or 2 and add 500 more doors, and I wouldn't add any more employees.
Right, but Chris wants to say something.
Well, I was just gonna say, the gentleman up front mentioned ARPA.
Gentleman up front mentioned ARPA. So have you seen the labor metrics inside of how they calculate the labor metrics?
It's been a few years since I added a bunch of the VAs and added a bunch of hours. So I was going off the NARPM of probably 5 years ago, 3 to 5 hours per door. But I've been at it for 13 years, and this mistake is kind of biting me. I just feel like everybody's lazy. It's just I've got a lot of hours that
That's probably an organizational challenge more than.
That's a great question, actually. I'm going to, we should go back and check on it.
It's I mean, I'd always been told, I originally started CAM management with 6,000 doors, and I learned from a guy who's been in business 40 years. He's like, 3 to 5 hours. You start doing more than that, you're losing money. And that was on the residential side. That was always kind of my model. The NARPM thing, I think, was about that same model. And then I added a bunch of these VAs, and I was determined to grow and have 5,000 doors, and now I'm going, God,
So I think the answer in my mind, if I had to calculate that, would be very simple, right? We manage X number of units divided by the payroll that I have, right?
By the number of payroll hours you spend.
So we can multiply the hours, because everybody's full-time in our company. So I can just multiply, let's say 50 employees, 40 hours, 2,000 hours, and then divided by the number of units we manage. If you share your card, I'll message you. But that's a simple math. We don't measure that, but it's an interesting way to measure it.
All right, one last question right here, and then you guys, anybody else that has one can come up, okay?
Okay, I have a question for both of you. My name is Carolina Garcia, I'm in San Antonio, Texas, and I do run a very small boutique style property management, and it all happened organically. I am full-time in sales, and I do have that on the side. It doesn't even have a name, but it is because I started working with investors. They started referring me, and it just kind of grew organically. So I want to grow it. I'm getting more agent referrals from my office now, and I do want to grow it, and I do, but the issue I'm having right now is I don't have a go-to, because I'm not a member of the NARPM, the National Association of Real Property Managers, and so who's your go-to? Where can you get, more information? And do you do strictly property management, or do you do both?
NARPM.org.
So I was new last year, and actually, were you on the panel last year? Yeah.
someone said something that absolutely stuck with me, and it was like, I just found someone that was way better than me, that wasn't my competition, and I job shadowed him. And I did it, and I found someone that was like 4 hours away. I spent an entire day with them, and I learned so much. So I would say shoot for that, because it worked.
Sounds like a Chris statement.
The other thing is, there's so much free information on YouTube and the internet. Like whatever problem you're facing, just put it into YouTube. There's probably somebody who's made a video about it. Any business problem I run into, I find myself going to YouTube all the time to try to find solutions. Now, watch multiple videos because it's free to post on YouTube. So that, but I emulated somebody that's just across the river from me that I really liked the way their business ran and started to model after them.
Any names you can?
CRS is the name of the company. They don't post online though. I go get lunch with these guys. So.
Also, please make sure that you do need insurance, because if something happens, just because you're doing on the side, liability is still yours, because you're acting like a property manager and a property management company without, most of the states that I know at this point require a broker's license to manage third-party properties.
I am a broker.
And you have an E&O for property management.
I need, not yet.
You need to get E&O for property management before you go to the next check. It's for your own safety. Anything can go wrong in that business.
Love it. Awesome. Round of applause for these guys. And thank you all for being here. It's a pleasure.